All right then, bro. So this is DNA. It's gonna be quite a fun topic, so strap in, oil up, get your imaginary girlfriends. And yeah, let's do this. Oh, and before we proceed, subscribe to the video, like all that bollocks. Now let me show you why DNA is so fun. All right, so this is our boy here, DNA. Looks pretty freaky. Now, let's grab a little magnifying glass here and look a bit closer. And here you'll see what it kind of looks like up close, okay? You've got these weird, I don't know, tampon sticks, right? They look weird, okay? But you need to also understand that DNA is also a polymer, meaning it's a very large structure consisting of many repeating units. And these little tampon sticks here are the repeating units. So let's see what they look like up close. Alright, so this is our boy up close, okay? It's a bit of a simplified structure, but here is what he looks like up close, okay? And it kind of looks like a bionic man or something, okay? It looks very exotic, very strange, okay? So we need to really understand what each of these parts mean. So this part here is called the phosphate group, okay? And you've come across this guy before. This guy is negatively charged, and that's going to be pretty important later on. But this guy is a phosphate group. Now, this bad boy here is a special type of sugar, okay? And yeah, your life is a lie. You are basically made out of sugar, okay? All your DNA is made of sugar. So yeah, this guy is a sugar, and we call it deoxyribose. Now, this little guy here is a bit different from glucose, and I'll show you why. So let's take a little closer look at our boy here. Now, this guy is called ribose, okay? Deoxy meaning it has one less oxygen atom attached to it. That's what deoxy means. Deoxy means less oxygen. So this guy is deoxyribose. It's just pretty much the same as ribose, okay? And if we apply the same principles as we did before, each vertex here has one carbon. So there's one carbon here, one here, one here, one here, and another one here. And if you count all, that's 5. And because it has 5 carbons in this sugar, we call it a pentose sugar, pent meaning 5. And it's kind of in the name, bro, because DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. You know, it's a bit of a weird name. I would never name my son that. But deoxyribonucleic acid, the first part, deoxyribo, is what it is, right? So it's kind of in the name. You can kind of infer most things in biology from the name. So pretty cool. Now here's the last part here. So this guy here is what we call the base, okay? The base is actually what is different, whereas everything else here stays the same across all DNA monomers, okay? This part here is the same always, but here it changes across different DNA monomers, okay? It does change. And there's actually 4 different possibilities this silly little base here could be. All right, so first one up is cytosine, okay? This is, pretty cool, okay? And then there's adenine. Adenine is, it's all right? And here we've got thymine, okay? And the last one is guanine? That's like a disgusting, I'm not gonna lie, that's a gross name. That's like something I'd name an ugly dog. Guanine, it's just a gross name. How do you even pronounce it? Yes, here boy, good guanine, good, like, come on, bro. We need to appeal for a name change here because this is not it. Now, believe it or not, these bases actually have very, lucrative romantic interests, okay? Now, adenine has a crush on thymine, and when they get close to each other, they do things, okay? And they form 2 hydrogen bonds between each other. These lines you see between each other, the love they make is called a hydrogen bond, okay? Now, here we've got cytosine and guanine, okay? Now, these guys, when you put them close to each other, they make double love, okay? They make lots of strong love. And so they form 3 hydrogen bonds between each other. So they're like the power couple, okay? So you need to actually remember which base loves which, okay? So adenine loves thymine, and cytosine loves guanine. And I make love to your auntie, okay? So many different bases, learn them. Now, if I was to kind of grab these nucleotides and force them to tolerate each other, kind of like school, you start to get these weird bonds that form in between each other, and this is really important. This is called a phosphodiester bond, okay? And it happens between the phosphate of one nucleotide, between the sugar of another nucleotide, okay? And when you have a large column of these guys constantly repeating over and over again, you kind of get this sugar phosphate backbone, which is what it's called. Sugar, because it happens between the sugar of one molecule and the phosphate of another. And so this part here, this portion here, is called the sugar phosphate backbone. Learn that, bro. You should tattoo that into your brain, okay? And if you put it all together, this is what it looks like, okay? So you've got the bases that are complementary to each other, which literally just means that they fit together like a lock and key, okay? They're kind of just meant for each other, kind of like me and the Latinas, okay? So adenine and thymine, they're meant for each other. And this part here is the sugar phosphate backbone. You get these phosphodiester bonds that happen between the sugar and the phosphate here. And the thing is, these guys, these strands, actually run anti-parallel to each other. So this strand on the left actually runs opposite to this strand on the right. As you can see, the right one is upside down, okay? It's a bit gay, but it allows it to work perfectly, okay? So pretty cool. Now here I'm showing you this DNA structure, okay? It's a bit, fruity, okay? It's a bit colorful and weird, but basically this DNA structure highlights a very important point, okay? Now, this DNA sequence has exactly 16 bases, okay? 16. There's 4 adenine bases here and 4 thymine bases here. And this highlights an important point because they are all proportional to each other. They are in the exact same proportions. There's not going to be 4 thymine bases and 5 adenine bases, okay? Remember, these guys are in love, okay? And adenine, he doesn't want to be on his own. He loves thymine. They are meant for each other. And so you don't get a disproportionate, unequal proportion of these guys. They have to be equal, okay? So if there's going to be 4 thymine bases, there are also going to be 4 adenine bases. And the same thing happens to cytosine and guanine, okay? They're also going to be in the same proportion. So understand that point. All right, now I want to get a little bit silly here, okay? Very extra silly here. Now, this isn't part of your exam, so don't worry too much about this. So don't be taking notes. You don't have to, okay? It'd be a bit weird if you were taking notes. Basically, this is our cool, mysterious molecule here, okay? It's got a sulfur here. It's got these carbons at all these different vertices, and we've got these chlorines here, okay? And it kind of looks like, I don't know, it kind of looks like if sulfur had wings, okay? It kind of looks like a band, a weird band. Now, this molecule here is actually called mustard gas, and you'll know about this because this was used in World War I. Now, this is a very dangerous gas, okay? It's not actually a gas, it's a liquid, but we just call it a gas because, I don't know, we just think we're funny. But this guy here, this molecule is so dangerous. Now, the thing is, this doesn't actually make people see God, okay? With the amount of people that have been hit by mustard gas, I think about only 4 to 5% of these guys have actually saw God, whereas the rest suffered a lot because this gas isn't supposed to make you see God. This gas is supposed to make you suffer, okay? And because of that, soldiers were very careful about treading on no man's land. They were very careful because they were so terrified of mustard gas, because the suffering that this would do to you is so bad. And it's so bad, in fact, that this was actually banned in war. So it would be a war crime to use this gas. And this is how it works. So basically, mustard gas can kind of just stroll around like it owns the place. Gas masks don't do anything against this guy. He can just go in and just diffuse straight through your skin. And what it does is it's very unstable, okay? When it enters your body, it's very unstable. And this sulfur kind of just tweaks out and does some gay shit. And because of that, it lets go of this chlorine atom and it starts to become charged. This sulfur is now positively charged. And so, because of that, he starts to get very horny, okay? Very, very horny. And he kind of looks at that cytosine base in like a, ooh, like you're looking kind of cute. You're looking kind of fine. And so it basically goes over to this cytosine base and attaches to it. And they form a very strong, romantic, sexual relationship that I don't even want to know about, okay? Basically, this relationship is very strong. It attaches to this cytosine base very strongly. And because of that, it actually alters the base sequence. Now, if you look at this base sequence now, it's a bit weird because there's a sulfur just lying around there. This arsehole's just, he's chilling there. He doesn't want to go away. He has to pay rent, but he ain't doing it. And so he's basically just chilling there and he won't get off. And because of that, this base sequence is now different. And you'll actually learn more about this in a later topic, but basically, you do not want to mess around with the DNA base sequence, okay? It is there and it's very specific for a reason, okay? If you start messing around with it, that's when you start getting mutations. Now, mutations are really bad. You do not want mutations to happen. It is not like the X-Men, okay? You're not going to get some cool powers. These mutations are really bad because, while most of them are not harmful, these ones are, because mustard gas is a carcinogen, meaning it heavily affects the DNA base sequence. It really does cause horrible mutations like cancer. It also blinds you, it burns your skin and blisters you horribly. You know, it causes horrible lung problems. And I'm not going to show you any pictures because this, it's crazy. But the amount of suffering that it causes soldiers is just beyond comprehension. It's horrible. So that's why a lot of soldiers were very terrified of even going near puddles. Like you see in no man's land, there were craters and there's little puddles in them. And they were terrified that there would be mustard gas in those puddles. So they would be, very hesitant on treading around no man's land. And a very infamous person who was affected by mustard gas, and you all know this guy. I don't know if I could say his name here. Mustache Man, the evil mustache man, the guy with the weird mustache who would do those crazy salutes. I'm not going to say his name here, but that guy, he was in World War One as well. And when he fought in World War One, specifically in 1918, towards the end of the war, he was actually hit by mustard gas, and this guy went blind. So that's actually why Mustache Man never used mustard gas. He never used chemical attacks because of what happened to him. So yeah, pretty cool history lesson. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video, bro. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to the video, like all that bollocks, and I'll see you in part 2, bro.